The ROG Zephyrus S15 2020 is a flagship product from Asus. Being a last gen product, it has got a lot of price cuts lately, as a result of which I have received a lot of requests from you guys to do a review on the Zephyrus S15. So, should you steal the deal? Let's find out. Now, what makes the S15 special? It's a thin and light design packing 115 watts of GPU power while weighing under 2 kilograms, which is pretty insane. It also features the MUX Switch, which is something you can find only in true flagship gaming laptops. And the presence of MUX allows you to bypass Optimus, and that really helps you in getting the most out of your GPU. Now the specs on our unit are as follows. Intel Core i7 10875H processor along with 32 gigs of DDR4 RAM running in dual channel, dual 512 gigs of NVMe storage running in RAID 0, and lastly the NVIDIA RTX 2070 Super running at 115 watts. Build quality? Awesome. The design of the S15 oozes quality to the point that the images available online hardly do it any justice at all. Keyboard? Great. Touchpad? Good. Speakers? Decent. Display? 300Hz. Portability? Maximum. So with that out of the way, let's get on to some performance numbers. So starting off with the CPU performance, I'm pretty sure everyone is concerned about the CPU performance of the 10th gen Intel platform. This laptop comes with liquid metal out of the factory, and that really allows the CPU to stretch its legs. This laptop scored 4,509 points in Cinebench R20 and maintained in excess of 125 watts, which is nothing short of impressive, especially given the form factor. Yes, it does run hot, but even sustaining this amount of wattage in this form factor is quite a feat in itself. Single core performance is no slouch either, even by today's standards, as the i7 has a trick up its sleeve. Thermal velocity boost pushes the CPU frequencies past 5 GHz and squeezes every last drop of performance from the 14nm Intel CPU. As a result, we get a score of 522 points. So that gives us a pretty good idea of what to expect from a CPU performance standpoint. So it's time we talk some GPU numbers now. Testing the 3D Mark Firestrike resulted in a graphics score of over 22,000 and a physics score of over 23,000 points. The 2070 Super on the S15 easily beats out the Zephyrus G15 with 95 watt 3060. It also holds its own against the full power 3060 present inside the ROG Strix G15, which goes up to 130 watts with NVIDIA Dynamic Boost. So this really goes to show that the 2070 Super is no slouch even by today's standards. Far Cry 5 was tested at 1080p maxed out settings and it resulted in 115 frames on average, which is a pretty good result. Overall, the gaming performance is spectacular thanks to the presence of MUX Switch inside the Zephyrus S15. The Scar 15 from 2020 has the exact same specifications, but just because it lacks the MUX Switch, it is considerably behind the Zephyrus S15 here. I have shown the numbers for Far Cry 5, but a similar behavior can be observed in other games as well. Now let's talk about thermals. The thing with thinner lights is that they don't have enough space for cooling. So most brands skimp on GPU wattage in order to keep thermals in check. But Asus has gone with the highest wattage Max-P variant of the 2070 Super on the Zephyrus S15. So the obvious question is, can it handle the heat? Yes, with a little bit of tweaking, by undervolting the CPU through the BIOS and dropping the CPU down to 35 watts, temps are perfectly fine. You've now got a laptop which averages in the mid 80s on the CPU and low 80s on the GPU while gaming in Battlefield 5. This game is very intensive and can bring the best laptops down to their knees, but the S15 does a perfect job here with no throttling whatsoever, even when the room temperatures are on the warmer side. I really like the proposition of having such a powerful 115 watt beast in a package which only weighs 1.9 kilograms. For CPU only loads, short and long term power limits are set to 135 watts and 90 watts respectively in the turbo mode. At 90 watts, the CPU stabilizes at 85 degrees. So with the amount of headroom still available for cooling, I increased the CPU wattage to 100 watts, and even after an hour of testing, it only maxed out at 92C with no throttling whatsoever. That's quite an impressive feat for a thin and light. Now, stepping down to performance mode reduces the power limit to 70 watts long term, with the short term power limits being the same at 135 watts, especially useful for situations when you wish to have a balance between performance and fan noise. Silent mode prioritizes fan acoustics over performance and drops the PL1 to 35 watts. Let's talk about fan noise now. Turbo mode ramps up the fans all the way up to 7000 RPM under full load at 50 plus decibels in an attempt to extract maximum performance out of the S15's compact chassis. Yes, the fans are loud, but there's no high-pitched whining which can make it past your headphones. Performance mode drops the fans down to 6000 RPM, resulting in about 46 decibels under load. Most people will be fine with the noise levels in this setting. Silent mode dials the fans down to 4000 RPM or so, but the experience was rather poor, especially while gaming. Here's a gameplay footage of NFS Payback playing in silent mode, and as you can see, the gaming experience is full of stutters as the GPU prematurely thermal throttles itself, and the surface temperatures including the keyboard etc. become very hot to the touch. The fans run very slowly in silent mode, and that is not enough for the hardware inside. So what to do? Head over to Armory Crate. There's a fourth operating mode called Manual, which allows you to customize the fan curves to your liking so that you can find the sweet spot for yourself, and it also allows you to overclock the GPU core and memory. So that's pretty useful too. Now what about battery life? This laptop houses a 76 watt-hour battery, and I got around 6 to 7 hours of battery life on a single charge with Optimus mode. It is no surprise that running the laptop on dedicated GPU mode does not return great results, as that switches off the integrated graphics and the GPUs have high idle power consumption. So Optimus mode is the preferred choice when not plugged in. This laptop features a Thunderbolt 3 port as well, which is pretty nice. It also supports Type-C charging up to 65 watts, so if you have access to a mobile charger or something, it can be used to charge this laptop without the burden of carrying the 240 watt brick. So what are my final thoughts on the Zephyrus S15? Zephyrus S, as we know, forms the flagship lineup of Asus ROG laptops. It is so feature packed with NVIDIA G-Sync, MUX Switch, active aerodynamic system, 115 watts of 2070 super goodness, liquid metal, good amount of portability, you name it. This laptop has it all. Killer specs now selling for killer prices is a killer combination. So I have given the link to buy this laptop in the video description. I'll leave you with this Battlefield 5 footage straight out of the S15. So please like, share and subscribe to Gamers and ID Paradise. And if you want to see what's happening behind the scenes, join us on Discord using the link in the video description. See you guys next time. Until then, feel the power of 2070 Super.
On my own then. 3 places to go. Here we go!
ist einer! In der verdammten... Herr uns! Da drüben! Verdammt damit! Rauchgranate! Hebt das! Ja! Sie sind in der Basis! Zeigt ihnen, wie man kämpft! Bis eure Hilfe! Weit direkt hier! Sie sind in der Basis! Hier zeig ich's! Nein! Auswärmen und suchen! Ich weiß, dass Sie hier irgendwo sind, verdammt! Haltet Ausschau nach hier! Hier ist einer! Suche eine Basis! Sie dürfen nicht entkommen! Meldet euch, wenn ihr noch seht! Ein verdammter Feindsoldat! Sie sind in der Basis! Verloren! Verdammt!